Hello, YouTube. This is Jamie, and today we're going to be discussing a conscious conversation by our very own clinician, Maryam Abdallah. And this comes from her business, I Am Well Consulting, LLC. And today, what we're going to be watching is a little clip on Facebook Live called Generational Trauma Healing from Within. It is a panel discussion. So, this took place back in September of 2021, and I attended it, and it was amazing. And so, I just wanted to share a little bit of what you can expect. If you go out there and watch this, it is about almost 2.5 hours long. I'm telling you, you will get a ton out of it and learn about generational trauma. Give Maryam Abdallah a follow out there on YouTube at I Am Well Consulting. As I said, she is one of our very own clinicians at Nashville Emotional Wellness. And we are so excited to celebrate her business. And so, with this panel discussion, this was on Eventbrite. And what I took away from it is there were several different layers here. One layer is trauma. The panel discussion presenter presented on the reptilian brain, how your brain freezes, and why is this happening? Our prefrontal lobes and how they tell us, what can I learn from this? Our window of tolerance and hyperarousal. Other things that were mentioned were cultural identities. Trauma in a person over time can look like a personality. Did you know that? Very interesting what she goes over into trauma. Trauma in a people can look like a culture. The nation has been traumatized to see BIPOC people as traumatized, and that this is how they are. Lots of personal stories shared and personal experiences with trauma. Goes over what a secure base is, traumatized core organizers of the marginalized experience, what is decolonization, self-compassion as an exposure technique. What does it mean to what does racial healing mean? And then elements under discrimination. So it talks about LGBTQ experiences, psychology as a tool that kept people oppressed. And this is something that is a bias within the community that is being addressed within marginalized communities, that this is a reason why some people don't choose to seek out therapy, is because systems were a way to keep people oppressed, and some people may see therapy as a part of that system. And I think this is amazing to link generational trauma with that, to build people's awareness of it, that maybe this is where my bias comes from. Maybe this is why I am not jumping up and down to go see a therapist. Maybe this is why I don't want a doctor. Maybe this is why I don't want to be in a hospital. Maybe this is why I don't want surgery. Really learn about that. Colorism. And she gave a phrase here, one of the panelists. Black means step back, brown means stick around, yellow means you're mellow, and white, you're all right. Don't know if you've ever heard of that. And then also themes around oppression. So oppression begins by targeting the body. And she gave an example of the Black body was an animal body. A person would be persecuted faster than an animal. Pause there. That is tough to take in. Definitely goes into bodies who have been sexually objectified in social hierarchies during slavery. So it's definitely some difficult topics that is shared, but such learning when we know better, we do better. And that's one of the quotes that Maryam lives by. You can find her bio out there on Nashville Emotional Wellness, find out more about her target audience and what she focuses on within her clinical practice modality. And so I'm just going to play a brief clip here of the panel discussion, And go out there on Facebook and check it out. Click on the link below down at the bottom and you can view the full thing, the full panel. And we look forward to connecting with you. Drop questions below. We're happy to answer. Thank you again, Maryam, for sharing your gifts with us. We look so forward to hearing more.
And so a brief outline for today's event, just in order to keep us on time and cognizant of everyone's time. And so we will start out with what I'm doing, the welcome and introduction, and then we will move on to the presentation by Shamika Tumblin. And then we will have a brief question and answer for our presenter. And we will move straight into the panel introduction and then the panel questions. And again, it will be opened up for you all as the community, as the audience to engage and ask questions to our panel participants. And so we will get started with just a brief introduction and overview about myself. I am the CEO and founder of I Am Well Consulting LLC here in Nashville, Tennessee. And my life's mantra is when we know better, we do better. And so that is exactly what I want to help us do here today. And so that's how this event came to be. Trauma is something that is not easy to talk about. A lot of us may not even know we are holding trauma from generation to generation and passing it on from generation to generation. And so to bring some awareness to our BIPOC communities to help us become aware of that, acknowledge it, and then learn what we can do to start healing from that. And so I Am Well Consulting was founded on the premise that helping professionals, mostly therapists, teachers, educators, healthcare professionals, and the list goes on and on, we're constantly giving to others, and sometimes we forget to even care for ourselves as much as we are teaching it to others. And so I provide well-being services to professionals, as well as I'm a local therapist and I provide therapy services to individuals, couples, and families. I specialize in working with women and the LGBTQ community. And so that's just a little bit about myself. Again, as I stated earlier, this talk or this mobile institute is being sponsored by the Vanderbilt Public Theology and Racial Justice Collaborative, along with the Henry Luce Foundation. They believe in having community conversations that are much needed, sometimes hard, but much needed. And so I am really grateful to be able to share this through their sponsorship. And so this morning, I have the honor of introducing our presenter, Shamika Tumblin. Shamika is an advocate, educator, and speaker. She has a Master of Science in Public Health from Meharry Medical College, Master's in Marriage and Family Therapy from Tribeca Nazarene University, and over 7 years of experience in the field of behavioral health. Shamika is currently a public health professional in the field of maternal child health, a temp licensed marriage and family therapist, National Show Your Love Ambassador, Postpartum Support International Tennessee Chapter board member, and a member of Black Christian Influencers and Forbes The Culture, as well as a Mama Glow full spectral doula training with birth manifestation. The organizations that Shamika are a part of are representations of her values, desires, and the communities in which she seeks to create change. When speaking, she is always sure to give honor to her creator, and her audiences know that she is but a vessel. Shamika's mission is to continue aiding families in changing the narrative around their mental health, Her hope is that communities will encourage deeper conversations around the importance of therapy and the understanding that it is not therapy or God, instead, both that aid in individuals walking in their purpose. And so now I will turn it over to Shamika Tumblin to share with us this morning. And so I have stopped sharing, Shamika, so you should be able to. We can see your screen. You're on mute though.
There we go. Good morning. Can you all hear me now?
Yes.
Awesome. And is the presentation full screen for you all?
It is. It looks great.
Amazing. So good morning, everyone. My name is Shamika Tumblin, and that was an amazing introduction. So I feel I do not need to say anything more about myself. I will say that in putting this presentation together, I was given a little background information and told this audience will be consisting of not only community members, but my fellow colleagues and others who work in the community. So this presentation is for everybody. If you are somebody like me who is a visual learner but loves to hear, you got the really cute graphics going on, but also my voice will be what's most important here. And I will try my best to maintain a sense of calm, make sure we're working with the inflections. But the goal of this presentation today, as stated, of course, is to encourage us to seek help, but also understand the history of trauma and also how that trauma is being resurfaced today. And so with that being said, for some, hearing this may cause some triggers or make them feel uncomfortable. And if so, I want to invite you in to reflect on why that is. Maybe speak with those around you. But also for others, you will see that this is very surface. I'm not a historian, but I pulled together the concepts that are important for today. But also the understanding that we as a community have been through so much, whether it be rehearing stories from family members or understanding our own life experiences. And the last thing I want to do is re-traumatize you all while hearing this presentation. So the goal is to focus on, like we said, the understanding, focus on healing, and give way, hopefully, for our panel to be able to come in and have a very diverse and in-depth conversation so that you all can not only hear from me, but hear from those in the community that are doing the work, people who you can also reach out to. And I will also be sending not only a copy of the presentation, but I have put together resources of clinicians within the community. I've also put together organizations that work within our community and another, resource guide that kind of talks about if you're someone who is seeking therapy, what are the steps to go through? And those will be shared so that they can be shared with you all, as well as my email if you would like to reach out to me. I love to share my knowledge, provide education, and my belief is that in order for us to create change, we have to share the knowledge that we are gaining with the community. So without further ado, I want to start today's presentation on generational trauma and healing within BIPOC communities. So I want to start today by saying that one of the ways we also recognize that trauma is to give honor and recognition to the land on which we stand on, because this land was taken from Native Americans. And here in Tennessee, there were several tribes who existed before. So I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that the land we stand on does not belong to us, even now. It belongs to them. So today's objectives. Today we will be talking about giving a brief overview of trauma. We'll be talking about trauma directly within the BIPOC communities. We'll be talking about what I call the pyramids, which you all will come to know what I mean by that when we get to that portion of our presentation. The understanding and need for a shift in focus. And then, of course, anytime we talk about something so heavy or we're talking about educating, we have to talk about healing and give hope. So that is what I hope that I leave you all with. Cool. So trauma. If I'm to speak from a therapy point of view, or this slide itself is giving you all an example of what I tell my clients. So trauma, very briefly, is an experience, physical or psychological, that creates serious harm. This harm can last for a brief period of time, or it can last for literally generations, which we're talking about today. So that is where we get into our big T versus our little t. So our big T trauma is those traumas that create long-term harm and also require layered healing. So what I mean by that, grief, such as losing a loved one. We know that not only is that a loss that you will feel for forever, because that is someone that you cannot get back, but healing is something that is multidimensional. You have to understand the process of grief. Understand that grief is something that doesn't end. There will always be times where you come across a memory or something that'll happen in your life that'll remind you this person is no longer here. But then also, it's not just healing for you. That is a loss you incurred, yes, but you know that others have incurred that loss as well. So it's loss that is shared, and experience that is shared, and healing that needs to be shared. Other forms of big C trauma are anything that creates some type of effect on the brain. So this could be car accidents, concussions from sports injuries. These things create a psychological disruption in the brain that is often long-term. And then experiences such as car accidents. So when I talk about a car accident and its layers, this is something some people may say, that's a little T if you survive. But it can be a big C depending on the impact of that trauma. So if you're someone that has to go to therapy because you can no longer get in a car, maybe just seeing a car causes your body to have some type of maladaptive response that's very, it causes you to have to be centered. Like it literally just dysregulates you. It also could have caused you to have broken bones. This trauma could have resulted in loss of a loved one. Or even if there was no loss and you survived, the trauma itself left some type of impact on you that the next time you get in a car, you will have some type of thought that results in whether it be this time I'm going to put on my seatbelt, I'm going to make sure all the kids are buckled in the bag, I'm going to make sure my music is turned down low. There is something that you now do forevermore because of that incident. And then our little T experiences are those things, and I put a little Band-Aid because oftentimes, I don't know, we've all seen those commercials. McDonald's had one a while back where the little guy's learning to ride his bike, and then it's the little girl, and you see the parents holding on and then they let go. There was this sense of like safety there, like don't let me go. What if I get hurt? What if I fall? And oftentimes you don't, but your body still had that response to it happening. And even if you do, you may get some scrapes and bruises that require a Band-Aid. You're going to remember that, but also those things heal, and with them you grew from them. So other experiences such as that, or things such as the first day of school, that's a trauma. You're going into a new environment. You may be meeting new people, making new friends, but even with that, as you go along and you're constantly learning throughout that year, you're learning new information. You're having, of course, to do homework. Maybe you're involved in a sports team. All of these things are your body taking on new experiences, which are going to create memories, which therefore will change the course of history for you. And then weightlifting, because literally physical exercise is another form of this that does that to your entire body, building muscle memory, increasing oxygen flow to the brain. And we also know it is a way to decrease stress for the body as well.